Okay, boys and girls, welcome to labs today. Today for labs, we're doing the second day of the engineer lab. And our guiding question is, how can I use my knowledge about seeds and pollination to design tools to help in these processes? I can explore materials and methods for dispersing seeds. I can design a tool to help in the process of seed dispersal. So, on Monday, I let you guys look at the tools that were in the bags that were provided. And I told you there's such thing as form when your design mimics nature, and we talked about what that looked like using a fan, right? The bird's wing and the butterfly's wings open up, and sometimes we showed that you could catch seeds based on the form, right? So this form happens to be something that was designed this way in order to mimic nature, okay? Then we talked about the function. So we have this feather duster right here, and this feather duster is very similar to a bird's plumage or feathers. And we also have the seed pod, and we noticed that when close to that, it sucks up the seed pod, and it uses that as a way to disperse the, well, it would be pollen for us, we're pretending it's pollen, but yeah, the seed pod. And that's how seeds are on the move with animals, right?
And that's the flower.
And this would not be the flower. This would be an animal that actually attracts the seed, right? And it's a hitchhiker. What's it called?
Hitchhiker.
So sometimes you'll get seeds that hitchhike onto your socks. Have you ever gone in the field and walked across the field and you get those little things that are pricky pokies in your socks?
Yeah, I got them in my head.
Those are called hitchhikers. What are they called?
Hitchhikers.
And there is a way that seeds are dispersed, okay? The animals pick them up, and then the seeds eventually fall off and they go into the ground and they make a new seed, a new plant there, right?
People.
Okay, and they are pokey. They can poke people. You're right. So right now we're going to be. I'll wait. Thank you. I'll wait. We're going to use the materials with our partners, and I'm going to remind you of what materials we have. And you're actually going to be looking at the materials in order to design a pollinator tool. Okay? So, we're still going to do the seed pickup, but that's at the very end. So, can anyone tell me, and some of this are missing materials I noticed, which is a bummer because I did ask you to put all the materials back in, and if you don't have all the materials, you'll have to raise your hand and we'll have to do a quick refill before we begin. But here were the materials you were supposed to have in your bag. You're supposed to have 2 pipe cleaners, 2 cotton balls.
2 of everything.
Nope. 2 popsicle sticks. 2 Q-tips. 1 feather. A piece of Velcro that has both sides. And 2 pom-poms. Okay? And we already did our observation about which material picked up the seeds best in the 15-second challenge. Can anyone remind me about which one was the best for the 15-second challenge? Marie, what was the best material that we used?
I have to say, I think the cotton balls.
The cotton balls worked really well, didn't they? What was another material that worked awesome to help pick things up? Anthony, the feather. Were you successful with the feather? Jacob.
The Velcro.
The Velcro, because you could push it
Velcro
down and then you could get the seeds to get into its tines. Very similarly to our seed
The Velcro was the best.
hitchhiker. It's very similar to that. It helps pick things up. Yes.
The pom-pom?
The pom-pom also worked as well. Okay. Part of your design today is going to be modifying it, okay? The function includes the purpose and the materials you use, but you can modify or change the material shape and structure. You don't just have to use this. Maybe if you want to have a piece of paper that you're going to design something that sticks onto there, or you're going to use a stick. We will get more material choices as we go along in this lab. So having one of the reasons why I chose to at least have 2 sticks in each section was because you can actually use it like chopsticks, so you can create a different idea of how you move them and how you make them work, okay? So what you're going to do today is you're going to work with your partner, and before you even use your materials, I'm going to have you kind of jot out your ideas for what you think would be the best way to do that. Now, when you modify materials, you might need to change the form and shape. So right here I have a toothbrush, okay? And there's a few in here. You'll have to share them. But one idea some people might have is, what's this?
Q-tip.
And what does it have on the top of it?
Cotton.
It's the same thing as a cotton ball, right? But it's all really tight
Just
in there.
skinny.
So how could I get this so I could use this better?
Pull it off.
What do you think?
You maybe pull it off and put it back on.
Pull it off? What else could I do? So I'm pulling it off a little bit. Doesn't work that well. I mean, I got a little bit. What do you think?
You can brush it.
I could brush it. Oh, look at that. It's puffing it up a little bit more.
It looks like
Okay.
hair.
It's kind of making it a little bit puffier. Would that, because of the way that it's formed now, do you think that this would attract more seeds or less seeds?
More.
It probably would attract more. Yes, dear.
You can brush it like up in the outside.
Yeah. Or let's say that I wanted to use some other things. I have glue in here as well that might help you, or tape. So in case you needed to modify your structures. With this cotton ball, what could I do to make it so that maybe it would hold more seeds?
it.
Uh-huh. I might be able to brush this cotton ball so it has more surface area so that it can pick up more seeds, right? So you're going to kind of discover this, but here's the thing. I want you to come up with a plan before you start.
How do you know what plan?
So you're going to probably draw it out using the materials you have. If you need extra materials, who can you ask?
You.
You can ask me quietly. We're still going to do the tray with the seed because I want you to be able to, first you plan, then you create, then you test, right? Actually say plan, do, review. Say it with me. Plan, do, review. And it's the same type of things that researchers use and people who are inventors or people who do research or experiment on things. They always plan, do, and review. Yes.
Do you have to work with partners or do you have to work with
You have to work with your assigned partner. Yep. And the reason why I gave you that partner is because, remember, we're working on our perseverance for collaborative conversation. So far, we have only got to I can do it with help, but I'd really like to see today if we can make it to I can do it by myself. So that means that we're going to agree and disagree respectfully, and we're going to add on to people's ideas and thoughts, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get us situated so we can begin. Each kid will need a tray. Each group will need a tray, and you will need a bag from over here, and if you need materials, we'll pass that out. Thank you. Nope, you don't need a toothbrush yet. You have to go come up with a plan. Also, don't forget to get a blank piece of paper from the art cart. And your lab books to write your goals. Yep. Lab book to write your goals. Can you hit pause on that for me, please?